Have you ever wondered why it is that while the Lord said in the commandments to remember the Sabbath day, for it is holy, we Christians worship not on the seventh day, on the Sabbath, but on Sunday? In our names for the week, in Greek, we even remember that Saturday is the Sabbath day. We call it the same, Sabbato. We do not forget, but we do not remember it. Not that way. If we ever wonder, the reason is this. Because the Sabbath day was set apart as holy. Because on the Sabbath day it was ordained from the foundation of the world that the Lord and Creator of all, having submitted to death, would descend into Hades and would destroy our ancient enemy and would redeem not only us, but all creation. It was ordained from the foundations of the world that on this great and holy Saturday, the Lord would indeed rest from all his labors and would fulfill and complete all that he had done, restoring and redeeming his creation. And for this reason, on this great and holy Saturday, this great and holy Sabbath, we hail the Master as King, as Lord, as Victor, and we mark the change, setting aside the day of rest to be a day even now of commemoration, of prayer for those who have fallen asleep in the Lord, whose resurrection we eagerly anticipate. And we worship as Christians, not on the Sabbath, but on the next day, on the first day, on the day of the Lord. Because on that day, we see him come from the tomb. On that day, we begin the new covenant. On that day, the creation, having been filled with the presence of God, today is recreated. We stand on the brink, on the threshold, from the new covenant to the old, and we rejoice because this change is marked as a passage too from death into life. It's significant for the priest for a smaller reason. This is the last gospel that we read. From here, we turn the book back to the beginning and start again tonight with the beginning of the Gospel of John. But in all things, this great and holy Sabbath day, this day of rest for us and rest for the Lord as he remains a few more hours in the tomb, and rest for us as we conclude the service and go to our homes and wait for the revelation of the light from the empty tomb tonight. This day of rest is marked as a transition for us, for the souls in Hades, for all humankind. We wait and stand in awe with our eyes fixed on the Lord as he does his work and takes his rest and prepares to rise. In a moment, we will hear the hymn for the Hieroviko, which is not Ita Hierovim. It is rather Sigisato, Let all mortal flesh keep silent and stand in trembling as we look to the Lord. Today we cast aside earthly cares, earthly worries, earthly fears, and earthly joys. Today is a moment of crisis, not of crisis in that sense, of crisis, of judgment, of opportunity, of change. And we stand in silence. We look to the Lord. We rejoice in our hearts. Having shouted out already, we do not shout again. We wait. We watch. We rejoice. To all of you, Proti Anastasis. Now let us stand. Let us continue the liturgy. Let us approach the Lord in fear and trembling, in silence and in joy.